SportsGrid. It is pro football today here for week number 7 in the National Football League. We're live out in London. Kevin Walsh, I am joined by Joe Lisi as we are watching the Rams with a 14-0 lead on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to dive into this game in just a moment. But, Joe, a lot of good options here on this NFL menu. Philly needs one against their former quarterback in Carson Wentz, the return of Rashee Rice for the Kansas City Chiefs in a divisional matchup, and a low college-style total in Cleveland and a high college total that we're seeing in Dallas and Washington. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there is. And the marquee game, Colts and Chargers, a little bit at 1 o'clock is a big battle for the AFC, championship odds and divisional odds. We'll see if the Colts potentially can win on the road. But these matchups, especially early on, will really dictate what we have big picture, right? Can teams maintain the momentum? Chicago, New Orleans, Caleb Williams and that team with the victory over Washington in primetime. Can they continue that run to potentially make a division title or make it to the playoffs? That's what Ben Johnson and some of these teams want to see. But you brought up the Eagles as well. Mm-hmm. Teams are reeling, right? They've lost 2 straight. Identity problems for teams such as the Philadelphia Eagles. Can they step up on the road in a tough environment against Carson Wentz, their former quarterback? That has been productive. We'll see. But I have to be honest, the 4 o'clock slate for me is a little bit better than these games at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I think there's some fun that's going to be had at 4. I do. But what you have, I think, are, even in some of these uglier games, Joe, a lot on the line. And you have a situation where if Mike McDaniel loses to Cleveland, mm-hmm. I think it's on the board. It's his job. I am not trying to overreact. I think if the Jets lose to Carolina, the Aaron Glenn questions are going to be at a fever pitch. That is a very close line, if not now, when type of situation for that group. And I think it's going to be a really, really fun slate to follow. Let's, though, get over here to London, Joe, because what was set up to be one of the best games that we were going to see overseas this season is quickly turning into the worst game yet. A lot of these games have been close, even if ugly. 14-0 LA, 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns. For the Jags, 2 possessions, 2 3-and-outs.
Yeah, very sleepy to start for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were probably under the Doug Peterson era, right, Kev?
Yeah.
A better team in London and overseas than they were, right? At home. What has changed? It's a new coaching staff with Liam Cohen. They've come out a little flat, 3-and-out to start their second drive. They look inefficient. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look comfortable in the pocket. Maybe that's a testament to the front 7 of L.A., but now they're down double digits. How do you get back into this game to potentially put your team in a position to win? I don't know if they can run the football right now. I haven't seen that.
Well,
so it's going to have to get the football to their playmakers like Thomas and obviously Travis Hunter.
I'll tell you this, and usually I love to wait for halftime. I just bet the Jags plus 14.5. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm covering with possession. It's the first quarter. Newsflash, Rams aren't going to score every single possession of this football game here. Am I crazy?
No.
I thought it'd be 13.5.
Look at that.
Maybe
12.5. 3-and-out. They have a total of no yards.
So the game's going to end,
28 zip, I guess?
99-0.
No, well,
like I'm mad. I don't understand this. No?
I agree with you. I think the biggest thing, too, is just the way L.A. looks right now. They look like
this guy's a joke. This Lawrence.
They look like the fresher group.
Oh, goodness me. Come on.
I don't know.
Throw the ball. But I'm just – and listen, usually, again, we've now done a few of these in a row here.
I'd like to see scoring. I mean, now we have opportunity.
But I love to settle in and find, if there's anything
no settling
live.
Right now.
I'm really surprised that we're seeing plus 14.5. And again, Joe, if they punt, I'm not distraught.
No, I mean, the bottom line is right now the algorithm's showing, hey, no first downs for Jacksonville.
Sure.
2 drives, 2 touchdowns for Stafford. All right, and this is without Puka in the lineup. He's gone to Devontae Adams mainly in that. It hasn't been the rushing attack. It's been the passing attack for LA. He's picking apart that secondary. So big picture, the algorithm all of a sudden equates, okay, if LA gets the ball back, the potential at a field goal or a touchdown, that's why they're offering the 14 and a half, right? It seems appealing, but I agree with you. This is a critical drive for Jacksonville just to sustain momentum. Rest your defense a little bit. You don't want them out there again against Matt Stafford in that passing attack. I would go for it if they don't get it on third down too, Kev. Even though they're on the and I mean they should sneak this.
Yeah, spot's going to be close.
44-yard line.
I think they are going to give him the first down, but if I, like you said, I would get right up to the line and just sneak it. Because, they're not going to snap it.
6'5". I mean,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, remind him, hey, you don't reach the ball over unless you're at the goal line, and even then, take it easy. But because he loves doing the reach over.
He's so gifted, he's goofy.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a price sometimes to pay.
I mean, he's so gifted. He's got all the intangibles, but yet sometimes he looks like unbelievable. He looks robotic.
On one book, this number is 14.5 for Jacksonville, but minus 128. On another, it's 13.5 for Jacksonville. I just want to see if I can know what would be the juice. Minus 140 on the 13.5. So it gives you an idea that the 13.5 feels fine. But again, my point is you have the opportunity to be covering at the end of the possession. I just thought the 14.5 was a little out of whack for what was a field goal line coming. So we didn't talk about this, Joe. What did you like coming into this game? What are you on right now? Did you have a lean with the side?
The one thing that I wanted to take and I didn't take it was the total, just because of how both offenses, even though Puka wasn't involved, and it's still Stafford in this type of matchup, I would still lean to the over because of the quarterback play that we have. But I didn't pull the trigger. I did take a shot on secondary, Parker Washington and Kyren Williams in the receiving game. I got Parker Washington 16.5. I think he's got 7 or 9 yards.
He got 15 each.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're off to a good
Kyren
start.
as well, 19.5. And I actually like the fact that they're getting Kyren Williams back involved with the receiving game. I mean, he's a competent pass catcher. Towards the end of last season, they sort of went away from that. Earlier in the season now, they've gone back to Kyren Williams in the passing attack. So check downs. I still believe in Jacksonville's secondary to potentially make adjustments and force Stafford to work down the field. Not a lot of chunk plays early on, so that's why I'm going to that. But I did take anytime touchdown, not ETN. I took Tootin, plus 430.
It's funny. I think with this Jacksonville backfield, despite that great start for ETN, it still feels like at some point we are going to see Bashal Tootin emerge more and more and more, all in all, for Jacksonville. I don't know if it's this game.
Right.
For your sake, maybe so.
I feel like overseas they use different I just feel like that, don't?
The one thing that I did play before the game was Travis Hunter over 39.5 receiving yards.
It's a good look.
Hunter had his highest snap count and snap percentage offensively in their most recent game against Seattle. Now you go here against LA. Again, that should trend up, and I wish it wouldn't matter, but it might. No Puka Nacua, maybe you're not as worried about using him defensively, and then that can get you even more offensive snaps. 4 catches last week, only 15 yards, which, again, I think is a rarity for a player like Travis Hunter who can be a little bit more explosive. So I think this is a spot here where Travis Hunter can start to get involved. And it's a low number, right?
Right.
39.5. I think you told me at one place close 38.5.
Yeah,
Joe,
right before kick.
I think it's a number that's low that'll be obtainable at any point. But in game, I could be interested in that number still.
Well, I think also big picture, if you're Jacksonville and Liam Cohen, you want to now open up the offense to utilize all your playmakers. Right. The emergence of Travis Hunter ultimately will open it up more for Brian Thomas that they're trying to build consistency with. He had 90 yards last week.
And Brian Thomas, to your point, is starting to get back to being who he is. A wide receiver duo looking to get rhythm, a.k.a. the story of the Philadelphia Eagles. We talk their important game against the Vikings next.
let's do A.J. Brown. He's seems to be kind of upset with the way things are going. The Eagles will trade A.J. Brown at some point this season, buy or sell.
This is what really annoys fans about certain players. Don't you care about winning? All right, he played last year, won a Super Bowl, right? He's reading books, and he's blah, blah, blah. He's complaining this year, too. And he was complaining while they were winning. Yeah, of course they lost last night to the Giants there, but he had 6 catches, 80 yards. And then I think I heard him come out and say, I don't remember having an offensive meeting with Hurts and Barkley, even though it was reported that they did have a meeting. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but if they did have a meeting and he's saying he doesn't, what is going on here? Do you really want to be traded? I mean, grass isn't always greener. They're not going to trade you to a good team, right? You're certainly not going to Detroit, or San Francisco. They're not going to trade you to anybody in their own conference that's good, that could compete with them. So just strange. Do I think he's going to be traded? No. They've come out and said he won't be traded, but that, who cares? That could just be to drive the price up if they really wanted to move him. So I'm going to sell this, but, if he really wants to be dealt, he can make life hard. Keep complaining, keep doing this and that, embarrassing everybody, but really strange situation what's going on in Philadelphia. You won a Super Bowl, you'd think you'd be happy for a little bit.
I think that, I don't know, would they do this deal? I think Howie Roseman is not adverse to making deals, but George, wouldn't they have to acquire somebody like A.J. Brown to make this kind of trade? I'm going to say sell. I think he's going to stick it out with the team. I think they're going to move him in the offseason.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
So much to get to on this Sunday morning. Like I said, we will get to the Eagles and their big game against the Vikings in a little bit, the return of Rashee Rice. But, Joe, with a 4-2 Jaguars team in action and struggling right now, it's probably a good time to talk about the team they're looking up at in this division, which is the Indianapolis Colts, the early surprise team of 2025, who now go up against a Chargers team that started as the hot team of 2025 because they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Brazil. They followed that up with a Monday night win, and it was Charger. You now have a spot where I don't want to say either team needs it. That's a little strong. But I think an opportunity for a statement is up for grabs here with the Chargers and the Colts. It's a short number on LA. Injury news-wise, a little odd. I thought Joe Alt might be back, listed as doubtful, but the trade-off is a surprise return for Khalil Mack that I wasn't necessarily expecting. I'll tell you right out of the gates, Joe, I thought I would like the Chargers when I saw this game on the schedule heading into the weekend. I do like the Chargers in this game. I took their money line at -125. I don't want to deal with the 1.5 because the game could be weird enough, but I think this is a spot for the Chargers to step up and handle business. This Indianapolis Colts resume, college football style, not really shiny. I know they win big. They've not done a good job, though, in beating the good teams they've played because they've not played a lot of good teams. That trip to L.A. against the Rams didn't work out for them. I think it's a similar story against the Chargers.
We used to have a saying on college football today. I see it differently. It's been a while, right? And it's not to take away from the. I was on the Chargers last week. Remember, it was one of my bad picks against Miami. Started fast, couldn't close the door. They get the win on a last-second field goal, and I'm all in on Justin Herbert and that passing attack that they've started to develop. Obviously, with Ladd McConkey and some of those other playmakers in that offense, but. The one thing I think when you look at this matchup, right, and you say, okay, with Khalil Mack coming back, most likely he'll benefit the rushing defense against Jonathan Taylor, and the Colts will need that type of effort on the road. I'm not so sure, and I know Vidal had 124 yards on that Miami defense. But I watched that game play out against Arizona, and Arizona has a very physical offensive line. They like to run the football. When James Conner was obviously there, it was Bam Knight last week that got a majority of the carries. They didn't have great success. And so I don't know in this matchup if L.A. is going to be able to run the football effectively as much as potentially Indianapolis. I like Daniel Jones. He's playing, you can make the argument. I mean, 71% completion percentage, 1,502 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. that completion percentage is incredible in today's game. I think that translates. They went out west one time and lost to the LA Rams, but I'll take the 2.5. I do feel, though, Kev, this game is an over just because I think LA tries to attack them the way Brissett did with 275 last week.
Yeah, I think that's on the board. You do have Quentin Johnston returning for LA, which is nice. A couple of receivers down for the Colts, including Josh Downs. Travarius Ward is going to miss this one for Indy as well. The Colts, it's like Missouri, though. They're home every week. It feels like this is a road game, right? So you add that travel in, and here's the deal. And I know people are going to say it's unfair, and I get that.
Right.
But Daniel Jones, to me, as the season goes on, more and more and more people are going to be like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have just assumed that was going to be great. He's played 6 games this season. His QBR is 80-plus in 4 of them against the Dolphins, the Broncos, the Titans, and the Raiders. And that Broncos one is the, based on opponent, that's where you hang your hat on, right? But remember, if not for a leveraged field goal call, they lose that football game. But against the Rams and against the Cardinals, he was bad. Threw 3 interceptions in just those 2 games here. Jesse Minter and this Chargers defense, Joe, I think make Daniel Jones pay the price. When the Colts turn it over, they're just not the same team.
No, great points, and I agree. You would give the defensive edge to Minter and the Chargers. I want to look at it from the spread math perspective.
Okay.
We know Harbaugh, right? Chargers, Herbert, right? Herbert is looked at in multiple circles like he's won multiple playoff games. So if we're giving the quarterback advantage, it's definitely Herbert over Jones.
Yeah.
Why are we under a key number right now? I'm just saying, 2.5. I mean,
I'll tell you why I think. Because, and you referenced it, the Chargers game against the Dolphins that's not going to get people running to the window to back this team. That is a largely lifeless Miami group that they allowed to score 27. And if not for an incredible combination of Herbert and Ladd McConkey, that might have been a Miami win. And at that point, the Chargers would have been sat a 3-game losing streak with losses to the Giants, Dolphins, and the Commanders blowing them out in their building. They didn't lose. And sometimes you just have to sneak out an ugly one to come in and make a statement.
Yeah.
And that's my thing here when I say an opportunity to make a statement is on the board. The Colts statement is clear as day. A win here, 6-1, take out a team like the Chargers on the road, and you're going to see they're going to have like top 3 odds to win the AFC. I think it's on the board that only Buffalo and Kansas City have shorter odds than the Colts if this is an Indianapolis win. But the Chargers are all of a sudden, Joe, I mean, again, they were 2-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
The kings of the AFC West all of a sudden.
Right.
4 weeks later, they have the 3rd best odds.
Right.
Denver's the hot team, and the Chiefs are totally back. The Chargers need a win here, I think.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they start 3-0. They knock off the Chiefs. It looked like, this is the year with Harbaugh. Year 2, they dealt with some injuries. They lose one. All right, no big deal. But the Giants lost. How they lost that game with multiple opportunities potentially to pull it out. And with the game on the line, Justin Herbert couldn't step up and make those plays to at least send the game into overtime. There were doubts. And then you fast forward and you see Miami now. You can make the argument Miami's back against the wall last week, last potential game before they just wrap it up. And all of a sudden, there we go. Was that a punt return?
Yeah, but there's a flag because there's always a flag.
Boy. Parker Washington.
There's always a flag. I apologize.
That's okay. I'm just saying I will see how this plays out. 48.5 to me is light in this game. I think both defenses could be exposed. I'm not betting the side. I would take the Colts in this matchup. Okay. Just because of the rushing attack, and I just believe that those playmakers are a tinge better than the Chargers right now.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to update you on London, but we are also going to get a little into this Offensive Player of the Year conversation because Jonathan Taylor is the favorite, but he's going to have to play well here against the Chargers because there are a number of guys, who are very hot on his heels. That's next, all here on Pro Football Today.
Well, the best part about it
is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Quickly, because we have a lot to get to. We had a punt return touchdown for Parker Washington taken off of the board with an incredibly questionable and late block in the back call. An outstanding job from this officiating crew, Joe, to make sure they insert themselves and give us. I mean, they couldn't even finish with the replay because of how embarrassing it was. Spread sits 13.5. Jacksonville's going to have to make it happen on their own after a nice little stand there by the defense.
Yeah, and again, they've settled in defensively a little bit, right? So they contain Stafford, got the football back for their offense. You have the special teams touchdown. It gets called back. What do you do on this drive is going to be important for Liam Cohen and, more importantly, Trevor Lawrence. Right. He does not look like he's in a rhythm right now. Again, I don't think that they have to come into this matchup running first. They have to open it up to then run the football later in this ballgame. But again, if the short throw is there for Trevor Lawrence, he's got to take it. He has a tendency to hold the ball too long. He's eyes down. He doesn't go through the progressions enough in terms of consistency. I need to see that. There we go. We got the tight end involved. Get some first downs. At the end of the day, even if they come away with a field goal, Kev, this is what you want. Build momentum, and your defense now seems to have settled in.
Yep.
Maybe they can make some adjustments and shut down Devontae Adams in this ballgame.
So the Offensive Player of the Year market has seen some recent changes. Now, I want to just say with Puka Nacua, I think I know this will sound, maybe might sound like an overreaction. I think he's done in this race. It is in a race that is so much, Joe, about statistical dominance, outlier seasons.
Right.
I don't really think you can afford to miss a game. And he obviously is out here for this matchup against the Jaguars. And it's not a guarantee he's back in his next game. Jonathan Taylor sits atop the market. And we're going to go through some of the other candidates here. But here's the really interesting thing about JT. The number one thing right now for Jonathan Taylor is team success. Jonathan Taylor is not really in range of any records. Bijan Robinson's current pace is the most scrimmage yards in a single season. CJ2K is also CJ 2,500. He's the only player with a 2,500 scrimmage yard season. Bijan is on pace to pass that. That's how good of a start he's been on. We're going to talk more about him Sunday Night Football. Jackson Smith and Jigba, heading into this week, is on pace for the most single-season receiving yards. I know it's the pace, but that's the pace that we're talking about. And Christian McCaffrey, Lise, I mean, it's hilarious. 130 catches is what he is on pace for here. How do you feel about Jonathan Taylor as the favorite for Offensive Player of the Year?
I don't have a problem with it because, again, he is the workhorse. When we think about big backs and we think about Saquon-esque type of performances, right? Jonathan Taylor has been the main component of that offense.
On pace for a 20-touchdown season.
Right. And again, when we think about the emergence of Daniel Jones, he's benefited when you have a workhorse like Jonathan Taylor in that matchup. And again, last week over 100 yards. In big matchups, he has stepped up. And he's been on the cusp of breakout years. But now this offensive line is cooking. And again, the team is 5-1. You're 5-1. You knock off today, you're 6-1. Now all of a sudden, this team potentially could be a number 1 seed. And now that's what you equate. Who's the most valuable player? Who's the most important piece of that offense? As good as Daniel Jones is playing, you take Jonathan Taylor out, I don't know if they only have 1 loss.
But let me I think you nailed it. Again, I think that's the Taylor case. I'm not saying it's a bad case. I think he's maybe a little short in his number right now. But there is a guy who moved massively on Thursday, and it's a very similar case in Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, every single it's clear as day now with Flacco there. Because this is what, he's a veteran. He understands it. He's just going to feed Jamar. He's going to feed Jamar. All of a sudden, I know he's played an extra game, Joe. 2nd in yards, 1st in receptions, a touchdown off the league lead. This guy's going to be in range. That's an awful decision by Liam Cohen. You cannot coach like that. That is a disgrace. I'm going to get really angry during this game, it seems. Okay, that's fine. That's fun. That's what we want. I want to start all my Sunday mornings. Jamar Chase is live to me for Offensive Player of the Year.
I agree. And
I don't think they need 12 wins.
No. I think when they looked at the blueprint with Burrow going down and the inefficiency of Jake Browning, it wasn't that Browning was just turning the football over. He wasn't getting the football to Jamar Chase. And if this team has an idea of backing into the playoffs, you have to feed the playmaker. Jamar Chase, from an offensive perspective, gives this team now at 3-4 the best opportunity to be 9-8, 10-7, and get into the playoffs. And then maybe by then we'll know about Joe Burrow being back.
It would be nice to get
he's on the sidelines. Not one report on a timetable. You don't think that's odd?
Let's talk a little Sunday Night Football next on SportsGrid.
The best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all of the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth-quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back. Pro Football Today. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. I want to say, two guys, happy to be here.
Love it.
Two guys who are happy to have the crew helping them. And just keep that in mind when our moods are visible frustration and anger, because that's what this game is. Again, a ridiculous decision to take the punt return touchdown off the board, followed by another Brian Thomas drop pass. I have no idea if he's back or not. I can't even tell. 4th and 2 at the Rams 32, down 14. Liam Cohen kicks, miss. I mean, what am I watching?
He's trying to build momentum. I get it, but at the end of the
build
day,
momentum. That's how you build momentum.
Well, he's trying to get on the board, right? That's
Parker
the biggest
Washington's
thing.
their lead rusher.
He's all.
Come on, this is ridiculous.
I don't know.
I'm getting annoyed.
I'm getting annoyed too because
All
I
right,
need
so
a
we're
half
annoyed
yard
together.
out of Parker Washington. We got nothing else going on in this game, and I'm trying to figure out the 1 o'clock action as we speak.
Yeah, well, all right. So then let's try and figure out the late action, right? Can we just, for a second, we just did the Offensive Player of the Year, Bijan Robinson, Joe. Because Bijan is one of those guys where the college career, people know it. But for someone like yourself who was, week to week, whether you're on Texas, whatever it might be, how do you feel now watching Bijan Robinson in his 3rd season start to enter best player in the world conversations? Because that's what happened following the Monday night performance against Buffalo. $170 on the ground, a rushing touchdown, and then another 68 in the air. On the year, he's just been absolutely incredible for this Falcons team. Does this feel like the guy that you thought he might be in the league?
Yeah.
Tackle him! Gosh! What am I watching?
Yes. When you talk about Saquon type of players, dual threats that can catch it, just like McCaffrey as well. It's Bijan Robinson, and certainly displayed that at the University of Texas, throughout his career. It took games over. He's a workhorse, and we sat on this desk last year, and we're like, why hasn't Raheem Morris and the offensive staff figured it out?
Right.
Giving the football multiple times to Bijan Robinson, right? Yeah. And we sat there with Arthur Smith in year number 1 when he was a rookie, and we said the same thing. What are they doing? Why'd you draft a guy as high as you did if you don't plan on utilizing them the correct way? Now they're utilizing them the right way. It's opening up things for Michael Penix in the passing attack. They have playmakers now that they can count on. And when you watch that performance on Monday night or in primetime, it's not just the offense now. It is the defense, and that's where I think Bijan Robinson now, big picture, big market, MVP and player of the year type of discussion, will benefit if the team has multiple wins over critical opponents in the NFC and now has an opportunity to make the playoffs.
So, and I think what you said there, like he is now in this conversation, he is on pace for nearly a 2,800-yard season.
Incredible.
He has 2 100 receiving yard games. Like
Week
AJ,
1, right?
AJ Brown's right now looking around like, hold on a second, what do I got to do to become the Atlanta running back? Stuffed. I can't watch this game.
He's in.
I can't.
He's in. His whole body's in.
I might turn it off. I might put on some highlights of the college yesterday. Let's watch Talon Green or something that makes us happy. I can't watch this game. Here they are, though, now against this Niners team, Joe, and the injuries just won't stop. They were injured as all get out last year, and usually you'd like to believe, hey, we can get some positive injury regression to pop back our way. And that's what you would think if you're San Francisco. And it is somehow even worse. It's remarkable. I'm gonna be honest. Joe, I'm gonna be honest.
He's playing ISO. He's playing ISO.
Every word out of my mouth is just trying to distract me from this game. I'm gonna lose it.
Listen, Stafford's playing ISO.
Pass interference with the defense, touchdown. I can't get a Kyron I don't know. So here's all the Niners that are injured. Ready? Nick Bosa, season. Warner, season. Ayuk, haven't seen him yet. Purdy down again. Pearsall down again. Jennings and Kittle are projected to play. There's a conversation about the Niners' big picture, but let me just start, Joe, with tonight. Another Mac Jones start. How do you feel about San Francisco?
You know, I watched that game against Tampa Bay. He played well, but he also got beat up. And again, without the consistency in the rushing attack, they don't go anywhere, right? That offensive line, for some reason, is not opening up holes for Christian McCaffrey on a consistent basis, and it's been the Mac Jones show. It's been Mac Jones to Kendrick Bourne on. Can we double team the guy? Nobody else eats. Tonjes, the tight end, is one of the lone bright spots. But at the end of the day, Kev, when you look at this team and you say, okay, San Francisco's at home, they're laying 1.5, you get the benefit of your tight end coming back. You are, at least on paper, the better team with more experience. You should cover this 1.5-point number. I would still take a shot with San Francisco, but you know, you're talking about the new kids on the block. The younger generation is now Michael Penix and this team that really brought the game to Josh Allen. We've never seen Josh Allen under so much pressure the way he was last week. And if you translate that to how Tampa Bay got to Mac Jones last week, well, Atlanta should be. The way I think it is a lower scoring game today.
Yeah,
I do. Again. Mac Jones can't sit back there. He can, but he's getting absolutely murdered as well. And he's not going to make it through the season if they need him. So, again, I think this is a little bit lower scoring. I think it's under the total. I think they do utilize maybe short to intermediate throws, and they utilize or at least try to get Christian McCaffrey involved in the rush attack. We saw James Cook eat in the second half of that game. I think that's the mindset. I would lay the 1.5 with San Francisco, but I think it's a big McCaffrey game on the ground. I would be willing to take his attempts.
But this is an odd thing where I don't really know if there's any way to get through to Shanahan. And I don't mean, I know he's not. Well, he might be watching. If you are, what's up, Kyle?
Imagine he's sitting there with a cup of coffee.
I mean, it might.
Possible.
Well, you know what?
It's only 7:30 out there.
Kyle, if you're watching, I got some advice. It's advice you've been hearing if you've been listening from other places, but let me just give it again. Christian McCaffrey is not going to hold up at the rate you are using him. Add in the fact he's not the same guy, see the yards per carry, and maybe you should not trade for Brian Robinson Jr. and then have him leave a game against Tampa Bay with no carries. Joe, and this isn't not like Kevin clearly was betting Brian Robinson props and got beat up. There's nothing to do with that.
I was betting McCaffrey props and got beat up.
No,
it doesn't matter.
I do not understand why Brian Robinson Jr. is not getting 6, 7, 8, 10 carries a game. The McCaffrey workload as a receiver, it's not like it's like, hey, we got to make sure CMC touches the ball more. He's touching it plenty. I don't understand. CMC is not the same guy on the ground. Is that not clear as day?
No, and the offensive line is definitely not as dominant as they were. With or without Trent Williams in the lineup, the holes aren't there. You see McCaffrey's getting beat up at the line of scrimmage. Now, credit Tampa Bay, one of the better rush defenses in the NFL. But that being said, today's Atlanta's going to be very aggressive. They got an immobile quarterback.
Yeah.
If they were aggressive against Josh Allen, that could scoot. They're going to be ultra aggressive, I believe, in the blitz packages against Mac Jones. I don't think they're going to sit back, play zone, and allow Mac Jones to survey the field and pick them apart. That's got to be the matchup. That's why I think they need the rushing. Look, you can have success on the ground and limit the carries from McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. You have to be very focused on when you're running the football. Not on first down.
Yeah.
Maybe on 2nd and 4 or certain situations. But running on first down every single play is going to get McCaffrey killed.
Let's get over to what is supposed to be a high-scoring affair in Dallas next.
Well, the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Pro football today, Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi, Cowboys, Commanders, a little story, if you will. I like to on a Sunday night, so in about, 10 hours from now, or maybe a little bit less, right? You look at the games, you don't know the spreads, you guess what they're going to be, this, that, and the third, right, Joe?
Yeah.
And this was a game here with Dallas and Washington, right? So this is pre-Monday night. I thought to myself, I could see Dallas being a little bit interesting here. I figured this would be a short spread. +3s were out there and available on Dallas. And I knew sometimes you just, but it wasn't widely available. Like, if you don't take this 3 now, you're never going to be able to get it. And then Washington loses. Washington does not get Terry McLaurin back. Washington adds Deebo Samuel to the injury list. And Dallas is getting healthier on the offensive line. This is a Cowboys 1.5-point spread, up to 2 in places. A 5-point move in some spots from last Sunday to this Sunday. And I totally get it. But now I don't know how I feel about laying a favorite number with Dallas against this Commanders team. How do you feel about this NFC East battle?
Well, it's going to be tough, but I still my best bet in this game is the over 53.5. The one concern I have, and I watched the primetime game against Chicago, is that rushing attack isn't dominant for Washington, right? In order to win this game against Dallas, they're going to have to rush. How are they going to get 100, 150 rush yards in this ballgame? I think it's mostly through Jaden Daniels. I think this is a game that Jaden Daniels potentially has to take over. When you watch that game last week, he got involved with McCaffrey and all those tertiary wide receivers. Zach Ertz, obviously the security blanket. But without McLaurin, how are they going to attack this defense over the top? I think they need to run tempo. I think they need to obviously utilize Jaden Daniels more. Again, wet track, so he didn't dominate like I think he would have liked to. And credit Chicago for the defensive game plan. But I think in this game, they're going to utilize Daniels, A game. This is the game that if you remember, when Jaden Daniels takes games over, they dominate, just the way he did against the LA Rams, Chargers. I think that's the type of match. I'm not sold on Dallas. And again, the way they got abused by Carolina, for me, they got exposed in the secondary without Diggs in this lineup. I think it's a big day on the ground and through the air for Daniels. 2+ touchdowns, and he hits pay dirt on the ground. So 3. And I think they pulled the game out, but my best play is the over.
So let me ask you about the Cowboys wide receivers because CeeDee Lamb is viewed as a consensus top 5 wide receiver in football. George Pickens, though, is a supremely talented player. And the injury happens to Lamb, and Pickens has this incredible run. He has now scored in 5 consecutive games. Against Green Bay, he has 2 touchdowns, 134 yards. The Jets, a quieter game, but still brings in a 43-yard touchdown. And then, once again, lights it up against Carolina for a career 9 receptions, 168 yards, and a touchdown. So Lamb comes back. He says, I'm good to go. Pickens is playing well. It's a good problem. It's not even a problem at all for Dallas. But from a prop side of it, right, Joe? I'm seeing right now Lamb at 76.5, Pickens at 64.5. Receptions, just to give people a kind of a full scope, Lamb is at 6.5, Pickens is at 4.5. What do you think the workload looks like for the Dallas wide receivers?
He's almost like Stafford a little bit, Dak, right? When he locks on his guy for the day, he definitely steps up and keys on that guy the whole game, 85% of the productivity. And we saw him step up to Pickens, in multiple games without CeeDee Lamb. Now that Lamb is back involved in the offense, I think he's option number 1. But I still think he utilizes Jake Ferguson in the tight ends, right? He always checks down. I have a problem. I think it'll be an over, right? But from a prop perspective, I can't dial in on one specific guy for Dallas that I want to key on. Like, for me, I just have a prop. I would much rather just take Dak for 3.25 today, knowing how the success that Caleb had against that defense, and knowing that, hey, Javonte Williams in the rushing attack is good. It's not elite. And the only way they're going to get back into a playoff mix is by putting up points. How do you do that? You pay your $60 million man, and that's Dak Prescott. So, again, he might spread it around to CD first, I believe. But I definitely think he's got to get to 3.25 today to pull this game out. I don't think it's an under in any capacity. You're leaning to the under?
I hate everything I'm watching from Jacksonville. It's 3rd and 7, under 2 minutes. You're down 21. So it's a possible 4-down scenario. I would be looking to run it, right? Take advantage of soft coverage and set yourself up for a go-for-it 4th down. Instead, they're now potentially going to go for a 4th and 7. All of the decision-making is bad. And I know we're in the middle of doing something, but also we're just an honest bunch, and we're watching the game, we're betting the game, and it's driving me crazy. Now, to your point, Joe, I think for Dak, he can be rhythmic, and he's in this rhythm with Pickens. He's in this rhythm with Jake Ferguson. I think how I feel, like Lamb's 6.5 receptions, I don't understand. Why is this a 10-target game for CeeDee Lamb? Booked his favorites. Ground game should be available to him. Like, I don't really, I in this moment, don't feel sold on the guy everybody expected CeeDee Lamb to be coming into the year, and was through 2 weeks, right? I mean, he had 24 targets in the first 2 games. That's obviously an incredible pace. I am not so sure that CeeDee Lamb's going to, from here until the end of the season, be this guy who's a top 7 in targets across the league. Maybe I'm foolish for that.
No, especially first game back. I'm always concerned about that because, to your point, Dak is in a rhythm. Their offense is perfect, right? They're scoring points. The concern is on the defensive side of the ball. And again, it's a divisional matchup. You have a mobile quarterback.
Why are you?
He's getting crazy.
I am.
He's getting crazy.
I really am. It's a masterclass in what not to do.
But I would lean to. I like Ferguson's number today. I would even take a shot at Javonte Williams receiving. Pickens and Lamb I might take from an in-game perspective, but I still feel this game blows through the total.
I'm really excited to continue to talk about this one, but we are going to give you an update from Rams-Jaguars next on SportsGrid.
Well, the best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid. I don't know why this game is upsetting me as much as it is. Not a best bet. Played it live with a little bit of a boost. I think it's just football incompetence, Joe, drives me crazy. And
see it time and again.
But Joe,
time and time again, college coaches, NFL coaches, clock management, game awareness, situational football. It's non-existent.
But Joe, if you're on the 11-yard line, you're down 21-0. It's 3rd and 7. Again, you're a go on 4th and 7. You're a go. Why wouldn't you be running on 3rd and 7?
Well, I think
the defense isn't playing the run. It guarantees almost guarantees positive yardage. Maybe you break it, and now that 4th down, 4th and 3, 4th and 2 is a much easier play.
Yeah, I agree. But, sometimes coaches less real estate, the mindset of, goal line defense and everything else. I get it. But right now, the coaching for Jacksonville and Liam Cohen has been pathetic. On both sides of the football, offensively, defensively, the game plan. Obviously, they have one wide receiver. That one wide receiver basically is Devontae Adams, and he has abused them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
2 touchdowns.
Right, in the red zone.
I mean,
Devontae's eating, but he's not having this prolific game. It's 4 for 34 and 2.
But in the red zone, I mean,
I'm not
he's
trying to
the
downplay
only
it.
option.
Yeah. But here is the... Brandon Staley is one of my favorite coaches of all time because he was so awful and it was so obvious right away, and people tried to swear he was good, and it was as right as I've ever been about anything. And you might think this guy is so annoying. And, yeah, maybe I can be, but I was right about Brandon Staley the whole way. I don't think that about Liam Cohen. I bring up Brandon Staley for this. What broke Brandon Staley down, aside from being, again, a defensive coach whose defenses were awful every single year, is he lost all of his rhythm when it came to 4th down decisions. That became the defining, trait for him. And it's like a gambler, right? Every bettor knows what it's like when, you know what, I like 3 sides today, but I'm just a little cold. I can't play them. They all come in. So then you jump on the night game, and that loses, and you're sat there with an 0-2 day when you should have gone, you had a 6-2 card that you had lined up, and you can't figure out what happened. Liam Cohen is now second-guessing himself all over the map. There is no way the same coach can kick a 50-yard field goal on 4th and 2 and then go for it on a 4th and 7 inside the 15. He's out of sync entirely right now. It's a lack of trust in his players, in himself, and it's part of why they are getting destroyed right now. I mean, it's 21-0.
Right.
They are getting destroyed by the LA Rams.
Yeah, on both sides of the football, and interior line play is dominating for the Rams. Protecting Matt Stafford, shutting down the rushing attack of ETN and Tootin in this matchup. And again, predictable long third downs for Trevor Lawrence. And again, it has good looks, can't step up and make the proper reads. And that's on Cohen right now. They were more prepared when they had Peterson overseas than they are Liam Cohen. And maybe it is a feeling out process because he's a first-year head coach. I don't know, but they've come out flat in a game that they should have been more competitive up until this point. I just hope, and this is going to bother me, that they just don't all of a sudden pack it in. Like, they're down 3. The Jags. The Jags.
Oh, yeah, because the Rams are done playing football.
Well, but that's my point. All right, we'll just run.
They're done.
They
have no interest in being here.
So we're not going to try and score?
They just showed you at the end of the half.
Right.
They got the football back with 1:45. The first thing they did was run for 9. The first thing they did. The next play, they ran for 5. Okay. They took knees. They said, all right, cool, thanks. Picked up. Should have took knees off the bat. They are shop is closed. It's their football to start. They'll, try and put a drive together. But again, it's this interesting thing with these great play callers. They are, to their core, for some reason, conservative. Andy Reid, McVay, Shanahan. He's happy right now.
Who, Cohen?
McVay.
Oh, McVay.
Oh, Cohen. Well, he might be, too. I don't know. Ignorance is bliss. I just, is there a live look here at all? Just Brian Thomas for a gazillion?
I don't like Brian Thomas right now because, again, another drop.
No?
I would go to Travis Hunter. I would go Parker Washington seems hot. I would continue to go to that. It seems like he's dialed in with Trevor Lawrence right now.
Hunter right now 19.5. Brian Thomas 62.5. Your guy Parker Washington at 41.5. We will take the move from one frustrating topic to another. The Eagles-Vikings game is next.
The best part about it is that they're just going about handling their business. I was listening to Arvell Reese and his literally like 5-word sentences about himself and some of the things that Caleb has been talking about. The dudes are just so locked in here about just doing their job and not worrying about all the other things and awards. They know all those happen when you go win and you win decisively.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Baker Mayfield is the most important player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are in first place right now, looking dead in the eye of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They played a bad division. They're going to win a lot of games, and they're the best fourth quarter team, or at least the 2-minute warning team in all football. So, don't sleep on that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Awesome and monumentous win against Oregon. Texas has saved their season. Texas has given themselves life to potentially crash the college football playoff party. For OU, a loss to Texas shouldn't be the end of your season. And yet with that remaining schedule, it feels like it could be. Books certainly pricing it that way. A lot of movement off of the Red River rivalry.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.